Welcome back. Before going to the break, we were discussing an incident, something that is going to happen in about 10 days. Maulana Fazlur Rahman plans to march on Islamabad, and we were actually talking about the consequences, the possibility that it might disrupt life in the capital, not the first time, but it has been happening for quite some time. By now, we should have actually prepared enough. But it seems that somehow when it comes to using imagination in this aspect, we haven't been able to employ it the way it is supposed to. Javed Jadoon Sahab, now what? At this moment, we have seen the circumstances. Do you support the idea then that there should be a high-powered commission to talk to Maulana Fazlur Rahman?
Absolutely. I think they must form a senior level, a committee of the senior level leadership at in the PTI and the government, and they must engage Maulana. And they should go there with the particular points, not just engaging him. They must tell him in plain words that you can demonstrate, you can protest, but not capital will not be allowed to be besieged, and people will not be allowed to be made hostage. Because Pakistan is a democratic society, but that doesn't mean that everyone with every agenda should come and say that we would like to topple the government. It must end once for all. That toppling the government, even the talk of toppling the government should not be allowed.
Okay.
You must have particular views.
But are we not a democracy? In democracy, you can say whatever you want to.
Faraq, in no democracy, you go marching on the capital and say that we would
saying
like to.
is one thing, doing is another.
But
as long as it is speech, it is free.
I think we can expect that scenario because Maulana Sahab has single point agenda, and that single point agenda is to topple the government. This is what he has said. I mean, so far his statements go, and so far his agenda go. He hasn't talked about the price hike. He hasn't talked about the inflation. He hasn't talked about the economic difficulties people are facing.
He hasn't even talked about the Constitution.
He hasn't talked
about.
He
used to talk about Constitution all the time.
I think the only thing he has talked about is the unconstitutional way to dislodge a democratically government in Islamabad. Elected government in Islamabad. I think this circus must end. And must end for all.
And apart from the model or emotive argument, we have to have a plan also.
A plan
to take care of this.
Oh yes,
right?
Absolutely. Because Faraq, as they say, the gathering storms, they can always indicate they could be rain.
Not only that, there might be a snowball effect.
Yes.
You never know about these things. Niaz Murtaza Sahab, let us talk about the soft underbelly of democracy. We have seen repeatedly that it is exploited. Democracies are supposed to not use force to stop people. We are actually, criticizing India because India seems to be actually abandoning its model principles or democratic principles. But when you talk about these matters where somebody is actually threatening democracy itself, and he's marching on Islamabad or the federal capital, then people say that forces like Hitler, forces like other fascist groups actually took over because democracies gave them leeway. Is it important for us to actually have a serious dialogue on this matter?
Yeah, clearly. I mean, why is it that, these extreme groups and factions are capturing the imagination of people? That is a serious challenge for democracies all over the world.
Whose imagination?
The common person's imagination. Doesn't have to be the majority.
Is it capturing common people's imagination?
Not the majority of it necessarily, but a number big enough which can paralyze cities and so on. So what's going wrong, and that's a global concern because you have these right-wing groups emerging in country after country. Some of them are violent, some of them are able to succeed and come through the electoral process.
Right.
So yeah, clearly for a country like Pakistan, which has gone through so much the high cost of extremism that we've suffered, and maybe we are turning the corner on that. it's important to take, lessons from all those experiences.
Especially people who have come out of the institutions run by Maulana Fazlur Rahman
Yeah.
and then Maulana Samil Haq, right?
So, again, the issue of madrasa reform,
Yeah.
because, it seems that, these students are being, exploited,
Right, right.
and, I don't know what kind of education they're concerned. But still, it comes back to, the political element. And I think one big step that the government could take is to, apologize for 2014 and admit that, what it did at that time was wrong, because, otherwise it keeps.
That is not going to happen.
It should happen because, then it gets accused of being hypocritical.
No, but-
so it can get rid of that charge. The way PMLN apologized about the attack on the Supreme Court.
But that is
It
a
should do
very
that.
intriguing statement, actually. And Arif Chaudhry sir, is the government becoming a prisoner of its own rhetoric? That nobody can have the kind of sit-in that PTI had in 2014. And that's why we are going to give you, a place to stage your sit-in.
And the
we
container as
are,
well.
we are going to provide the
I
containers.
will answer your question. First, I have to say, in response to certain things which were discussed here, particularly when you talk about democracy, democracy allows people to have rallies, to have peaceful demonstrations,
Right.
and even people's movements.
Okay.
But it is not a people's movement. It is a movement. Not only you cannot say it a movement. It's an attack on the government, on the establishment by one particular group,
Right.
and they want to be armed and they want to attack. And there is no justification under any democracy to form such groups and take people hostage or take a capital, in siege, and then, say that, okay, you resign and go home. So as far as this aspect is concerned, use of force is permitted.
Okay.
And the other thing which you have rightly said, that the government naturally has become prisoner of his own, what they have, own actions
Confidence.
and own past. Because and not only with that past, after coming into power, same thing was repeated. There was no need for this, when you are in power. You don't have to encourage people, okay, if you want, do come here, I will provide you
container.
container. So now, I would like to agree with my friend that at one point in time, you have to, apologize the nation that, if anyone, one step is wrong. Either Maulana is wrong or you were wrong somewhere.
I can have a high stake bet with you. That is not going to happen.
Yeah.
But let me ask Javed Jadoon Sahab to actually sum it up for us, because I'm told that we are running short of time. Your conclusions. You are going to conclude on all our points.
Farooq, I think there are three important factors which are contributing. Media is giving a lot of hype to Maulana's march, and Maulana has said that his leadership has said that that government is trembling now because of the pressure.
Media is saying that?
I think day in, day out, the talk shows and etc. And the way they are giving importance and significance to Maulana Sahib, it seems
So
that
the messenger is bad.
it seems that the most popular leader in Pakistan's history is coming to Islamabad.
Yeah.
That is not the case. Farooq, we all know that.
That is very intriguing, because you're comparing two dharnas, right?
Yes.
One that is going to happen, one that has happened.
Happened. I think there's a huge
the previous party, PTI, when it came to Islamabad, it had incredible number of voters on its ballot.
Yeah.
This is not the case with Maulana Fazlur Rahman.
That is not the case.
And we are going to keep discussing these matters, despite the fact that you disagree with media's focus on the matter. On that note, Javed Jadoon Sahab, I have to thank you. Arif Chaudhry Sahab, thank you very much, sir, for being part of the program. Dr. Niaz Mirza, always a great pleasure having you all in the show. Viewers, you have listened to our participants. I'm told that we don't have that kind of time right now to properly conclude. So I will take the conclusion of Javed Jadoon Sahab as the conclusion of the program. Thank you very much for watching us. Take care.